Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of How to Play, where today we are learning how to play Coup. It is a great party game. It says 2 to 6 players, but I got the Kickstarter edition, which means that it can play up to 10 players. It's a great game, lasts about 15 minutes. I'd say at most. I've played games that last only 5. But it can also even last longer if you do play with 10 people or so. So, let's get to it. I have already set up everything. This is the mock 4-player game, so each player gets 2 influence cards, which are their lives, 1 little player action sheet over here, as well as 3 coins. The rest of the cards are put into the middle as the court deck. Now, the purpose of this game is to essentially survive the longest. Your 2 cards are not told or shown to anybody, and they are only revealed to you. So once you get them, just like poker or something like that, you just look at them, place them down, and know that those are your 2 actual characters. Now this is a game of bluffing, so when you look at the actions, you can take any action you want, assuming that someone doesn't call you out on being able to take that action. But first, let's actually just go over each of the actions so you can understand what they do. The first action is income. This is simply just taking 1 coin from the bank and putting it into your inventory. The second is foreign aid. That's 2 coins placed into your inventory. Why would you ever take 1 coin, you might ask? Well, that is because foreign aid is something that can be blocked by the Duke. But once we get to the Duke, I'll explain that more. The next action is coup. You can pay 7 coins to the bank to kill off 1 player's card. Now they get to choose which card that they're going to kill off, but when they do kill off a card, let's say I was cooed, I would choose a card and then flip it and reveal it to all players. This last card is still hidden to me, but is also only my last life, or this is only my last life. Yeah. Okay. For the Duke, he has the ability to tax people. This way you can take 3 coins from the bank. So, I would just take 3 coins from the bank. His counteraction ability is to block foreign aid. So if somebody takes the foreign aid action, let's say I do, I want to take the foreign aid action on my turn, I would take 2 coins and place them in front of me. Some other player, it doesn't matter if they have the Duke or not, they can say, no, I have the Duke, and I'm going to block your foreign aid. Now this is where the game gets interesting. Because they do not need to have the Duke to block my action, I can call them out on it. I can say, wait, no, I don't believe you actually have the Duke that can block foreign aid, so you need to prove to me that you do. Let's see if anybody has a Duke. Player 3 here has the Duke, right here. So let's say player 3 called, on my turn, said that he's blocking foreign aid. So that means he's saying that I can't take this 2. I have 2 options at this point. I can give the 2 back to the bank and forfeit my turn, or I can call him out on having the Duke. Let's say I call him out. I say, player 3, no, you know what? I don't believe that you have the Duke to be able to block the foreign aid action I just took. What he would do is he would flip up the Duke, say, haha, you lose, and then I would have to lose one of my influence cards. I'm going to choose to lose the Contessa. So I'd flip it right side up, and then just have my 1 last life. Player 3, now that he's revealed his Duke card, isn't at any disadvantage for having shown this, because it gets placed inside the court deck, which gets reshuffled, and he gets to draw a new one. This time he gets the Ambassador. Of course, he doesn't show that to people, but he just sees it himself. The next card is the Assassin. The action is to assassinate. What that means is that you can spend 3 coins and choose to try to kill off another player's card. Now, this is a lot like the coup action, except the assassinate action can be blocked by the Contessa. If you see this card that I have here, the Contessa that I flipped, saying that one of my guys died, she blocks assassination. This means that if someone, let's say player 4 here, said, okay, I'm going to spend my 3 coins and I'm going to assassinate you, player 1, I'd say, oh no, well, yeah, okay, what do I do? So if we just pretend that I hadn't lost this life already, I could say, you know what, I'm going to block it. I wouldn't show this card to them yet, but this is the card that I'd be able to block it with. Now, player 4 would have to then decide if he's willing to call me out on actually having the Contessa or not. If he does, then I could show my Contessa and he would lose a life. Let's say if I didn't have the Contessa and I said that, oh yeah, I'm going to block it, but really I have these 2 cards. He says, okay, I don't believe you, show me the Contessa. I would say, okay, you know what? You're right. I don't have the Contessa. So I would lose 1 life for being caught lying, and then I would lose my 2nd life for the assassinate going through. So lying about having the Contessa can be really disastrous, and assassinate is one of those ways that you can lose both lives at once. But let's rewind a little bit and see what happens if he tries to assassinate me this time. He can say, you know what, I'm going to assassinate you, player 1, spend his 3 money. I can say, I call you out on having the assassin. This means that player 4 here, who doesn't have the assassin, has to say, oh shucks, you know what, you're right, I don't have the assassin, and loses 1 of his lives. Now this game is really quick, so you can go through all of this within, 10 minutes really easily. So losing lives isn't a big deal and doesn't have as big of a consequence in games that last, an hour and a half or something like that. But anyway, let's keep going on to other actions. So the assassinate was to pay 3 coins to choose a player to lose influence. The next action is the action of the ambassador, and that is to exchange cards with the court deck. This means that you can draw 2 cards off the court deck and choose any of the 2 of the 4, but you can choose from any of them to put back on top and reshuffle. This is a great way if you feel like everybody already knows which cards you have to switch it up. So let's say you had the ambassador and you knew that you could make that action safely. You could switch up the cards that you have, including the ambassador, and perhaps have a better hand of cards that you could feel like you can be more tricky with. The counteraction of the ambassador is to block stealing. Now, stealing is the action of the captain, which I'll hit up right now. Stealing means that you take 2 coins from another player. The thing is, both the ambassador and the captain block stealing. So very often, at the beginning of the game, if I took, an action saying that I'm going to steal from player 2 here, player 2 could say, you know what, I'm going to block that. I would then have to call them out on it, saying that you don't have the ambassador or the captain within your 2 cards, or I would have to give back the money and forfeit my turn. I believe I have already hit up the Contessa, so now these are all 5 cards with the game. There are a separate set of cards called the Inquisitor. You can see, here's an example there, which has separate rules on the back of these and are used in exchange of the ambassador. So you don't play with the ambassador and the Inquisitor. But yeah, that's the basics of the game. You go around trying to collect money, trying to use coups, as well as assassinates and calling other people out on stuff in order to be the last person standing. Now there is one more thing. If you ever have 10 coins in your possession or more at the beginning of your turn, you have to take a coup action. You can't just keep on hoarding coins until you can, take 4 coup actions in a row. No, you have to spend 7 on that turn. So the turn where you begin your turn with 10 or more coins, and you have to take a coup action. dead. So that's the basics of the game. There's a lot more inside the rules, but I really hope that you could figure it out, and thank you for watching. That was Coup.